The future of the Texas Rangers is on display tonight in Frisco, Texas. As tonight, the Frisco RoughRiders take on the San Antonio Missions here on Fox Sports Southwest. Good evening and welcome to Dr. Pepper Ballpark. I'm Alex Vispoli, joined by Anthony Andro. The RoughRiders are the AA affiliate of the Texas Rangers, and they have got a lot of talent on this roster, and the Rangers have minor league talent throughout all their affiliates. And tonight, one of the special players who we're going to see playing in center field tonight, Anthony, is Lewis Brinson.
Right, and he's a guy a lot of people may not have got to see when he was in High Desert, but with Frisco local, you get to see a little more of him. He's a really special player. He can do a lot of different things. He had 2 homers over the weekend. He's hitting over 300, averaging nearly an RBI a game with Frisco. He's really an impressive player.
Now, a lot of people wonder what a guy is going to do when he gets out of the offensive environment of High Desert. Well, Brinson has been almost as good here in the Texas League, hitting better than 300 with an OPS over 900. And there's more firepower than just Brinson. Ryan Cordell, who is a third baseman tonight but has played all over the diamond. Anthony, he's been a big spark for this team, too.
Right, and the adjustment maybe for him from High Desert to here was a little more, it took a little longer, but he's got hits in his last 4 games. He just hit a home run. He's a guy, he's hit at every level, and he's continuing to do it here, so he's another guy you really want to watch tonight.
Last night he ended streaks of 12 games without an RBI and 16 games without a multi-hit game, so he may be finishing strong here as we go into the home stretch here in the 2015 season. On the mound for the RoughRiders tonight, it's right-hander Jose Leclerc. He's making his first start since early August. The right-hander features a mid-90s fastball and also an outstanding changeup. Should be a lot of fun to watch the 21-year-old on the mound tonight facing the Missions. RoughRiders Baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by In Touch Credit Union, working for you and your financial well-being. By Park Place Lexus, experts in excellence. And by Baylor Medical Center at Frisco. Tonight's starting lineups are brought to you by Kroger, low prices plus more. For the San Antonio Missions, managed by Rod Barajas, Benji Gonzalez leads off at short, then the second baseman is Taylor Lindsay. Diego Goriz plays third with Yason Asensio, the DH. Tyson Gillies is in left, Kyle Goodell in right. Dwanell Jones plays first with Robert Crowell behind the dish, and Austin Bousfield is in center. For the RoughRiders defensively, the outfield has Zach Cohn in left, Lewis Brinson in center, and Preston Beck in right. Along the infield, Ryan Cordell is at third, Luis Marte the shortstop. Drew Robinson plays second, Wilder Rodriguez at first. Carlos Corporan is the major leaguer catching tonight. He's on a rehab assignment. And starting tonight for the RoughRiders, it's Jose Leclerc. Welcome back to Dr. Pepper Ballpark for the Frisco RoughRiders and San Antonio Missions here on Fox Sports Southwest. Jose Leclerc is on the mound for the RoughRiders tonight. Benji Gonzalez, the leadoff man for the Missions, and we're underway. Strike one comes in at 7:06 tonight from Frisco to the switch hitter Gonzalez. Leclerc misses there to make it 1-1. Here alongside Anthony Andro here on Fox Sports Southwest, the Rangers AA team against the Padres AA team. San Antonio, like Frisco, not likely headed for the postseason. These two teams wrapping up their final series of the season tomorrow night. 2-1 is on the ground over to Ryan Cordell. First chance for Ryan, and a good start for Jose Leclerc to get Benji Gonzalez. You take a look at the numbers for Leclerc, and Anthony, it's important to note this is his first time working as a starting pitcher.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see. The thing I want to watch tonight is just see what his command's like. That's the thing it seems like he struggled with the most this year, but that's a good start for him, getting ahead of the first batter and getting a grounder, get his confidence going early.
Goes up against Taylor Lindsay, who takes a curveball for his strike, and that is the third pitch of his repertoire. We talked about it in the open, but he throws a good fastball in the low to mid-90s. As here he goes with that heater, and it's skied into shallow center. Brinson coming in, calls off Marte, and he makes the catch to retire Lindsay in 6 pitches to get the first 2 outs.
Yeah, he can't drop a better start, especially if like you said, first start. You want to try to maximize the amount of time you can be out on the mound. Quick innings certainly help that.
Right-hander, still very young. Leclerc is 21 years old. He won't be 22 until the middle of December. He is from Esperanza in the Dominican Republic. And he'll work to Diego Goris with 2 out and nobody on here in the top of the first inning. That is the changeup, and you can see the odd movement of that pitch. That one missed for a ball, but it moves almost like a short slider. It doesn't have the arm side run that a lot of changeups do, and that's another one. He gets the swinging strike of Goris. It's the pitch that really sets him apart, of course, in addition to the good fastball. Right. Out to center, and Brinson, a good break on it. He chases it down. And an excellent start to this ball game for Jose Leclerc. 3 up and 3 down on just 9 pitches. And the Riders will bat against Brian Rodriguez right after this. RoughRiders starting lineup under manager Joe Mikulik looks like this. Wilder Rodriguez, the first baseman, leads off. Brian Cordell bats second at third. Then it's Lewis Brinson batting third in center field. Drew Robinson, the Texas League home run leader, is at second base. The big league rehabber Carlos Corporon is the catcher. Preston Beck plays right. Trevor Adams, the designated hitter. Zach Cohn bats 8th in left field. And batting 9th, the shortstop, Luis Marte. All against the right-hander, Brian Rodriguez. So we've got Wilder Rodriguez against Brian here. Wilder made a cameo appearance in the big leagues last year for the Rangers, and he takes ball 1 from the Dominican Brian Rodriguez.
Yeah, the highlight he had when he got his first major league hit with his dad in the stands. That was one of the few highlights to the end of the season last year.
He had the game-winning RBI. Had a couple of hits that night. Really special stuff. He got the interview on the field, and I think got dumped with the Gatorade by Elvis.
Yeah, his jersey was a bright red.
Grounder through the right side, and Wilder Rodriguez starts off the night with a base hit. He's aboard, and that will bring Ryan Cordell to the plate with a man on. Wilder, a crafty player, just pulling that ball through the right side. And here is Cordell. Last night, Ryan ended a long string without a home run by going deep in the 3rd inning, sending it out to left field, a 2-run shot. It was his 5th in the Texas League and number 18 between 2 levels this season.
It's good to see him start hitting the ball again.
Takes a strike from Rodriguez. Cordell, the goal for him was to have a strong finish to the season. He has had a tough second half after a good start to his AA career in the end of June, beginning of July, but it has been tough sledding since.
And I know when we talk with the coaches and stuff, it's about adjustments. The pitchers make adjustments. You make adjustments to pitchers. They hadn't seen him, some of these guys, when he was up with them first time. But now that he's been around the league a little while, the pitchers make adjustments to the hitters.
Has a hit in his last 3 games and is a useful player. He can play all over the diamond. Tonight he's over at third. Last night he was in center. Rodriguez bluffs a go, and the pitch is up and in. Cordell hitting .221. And he's a guy who a lot of people think is going to hit. You know, this is not going to be the long-term struggle with him. 1-2 pitch. And it's popped up into shallow right center. This is Kyle Goodell coming in. And the right fielder makes the catch for the first out. Here's what Brian Rodriguez's numbers look like. The win-loss is not great, but his ERA is, believe it or not, among the top 10 in the league. He's thrown a lot of innings this year, and he has been with San Antonio almost all season. He had a brief 3-start appearance up with AAA, the El Paso Chihuahuas, but has spent the bulk of the season here in the Texas League. This is his 4th start against the RoughRiders, and now we get a look at Lewis Brinson for the first time tonight. And he takes strike 1. Brinson with the RoughRiders hitting .309, 5 home runs, 21 runs batted in, an impressive .907 OPS. And he's been very good defensively as well.
All right, he showed a little speed in the top of the first inning, making a play.
Gets that one on the ground and past the glove of Gonzalez. It's a base hit for Lewis Brinson. Gonzalez last night was the second baseman, but here he shifts over to shortstop. Couldn't range far enough, and Brinson, seeing eye single to put Rodriguez up to scoring position.
That's a good piece of hitting, but I don't think we expect anything else out of Brinson the way he's hit so far this year at High Desert and here.
Brinson doing that on a breaking ball, and for a lot of time early on in his pro career, that was one of his Achilles heels, but he's hit breaking balls a lot better here in the Texas League. He told me after he hit his first AA hit on a breaking ball, he thought they should be made illegal. This is Drew Robinson. Robinson, his 20th home run of the season last night, and it was unconventional. Hit it inside the park. Robinson tips that one into Crowell's glove. This is last night in the 4th inning, an inning after Cordell's home run. This ball barely missed getting out of here on the fly, but it took that bad hop out towards center field, and Robinson never gave up on it. He was at second base in a heartbeat, and then on his way home, a great slide to knock the ball out. There's a drive to deep right field, and this one will make it out on its own.
That's a little easier when you don't gotta sprint around the bases.
He can ease it up on the home run trot. Drew Robinson, his 4th home run in the last 6 ball games, and Frisco goes on top 3-0 early. Robinson adding to his career high, sending that 1-1 pitch up onto the berm.
Yeah, it looked like he just stayed back on it and let it come through the zone and put a good swing on it.
Great catch by the young fan out there.
Everybody's catching him tonight.
Here is Carlos Corporan, the Rangers backup catcher who's rehabbing a sprained left thumb. Corporan suffered the injury in July and ran into a setback in his initial comeback and got shut down, and is back here likely in the minors until the rosters expand.
Yeah, we talked to him a couple days ago. Thumb wasn't 100%, but the need for a third catcher, especially when the rosters expand, so you can do some things, pinch run, that kind of stuff, and not be left unprotected. It's important that he gets back. The Rangers talked about that. As good as Chris Jimenez and Bobby Wilson have been, they can use Carlos Corporan, and they can use Robinson Chirinos, and obviously Carlos is a little ahead of Robinson right now.
Yeah, he sprained his thumb taking a foul tip in a game against Baltimore. Wandy Rodriguez was on the mound and said it was odd. He'd never been hurt before. Said he's probably going to have to get it looked at in the offseason. 1-2 pitch. And a slow roller up the first baseline. There to pick it up, Dwanell Jones. And there were 2 down. Corporan is slated to catch some of tonight's game. He may come out at some point, and the schedule for him would be to be the designated hitter once again tomorrow. He was the DH last night. Take a look at the San Antonio Missions defensively. Tyson Gillies in left, Austin Bousfield in center with Kyle Goodell in right. Diego Goris and Benji Gonzalez cover the left side of the infield. Taylor Lindsay at second, Jones at first, and Crowell catching Gonzalez. 2-hopper over to Lindsay, and Preston Beck out on 1 pitch, but a profitable first for the Frisco RoughRiders. A 3-run home run by Drew Robinson, and Frisco's ahead 3-0 early. Welcome into the broadcast booth at Dr. Pepper Ballpark. The RoughRiders and San Antonio Missions are in the 2nd inning, and today we're joined by Paul Kruger, who's the manager of minor league operations for the Texas Rangers. And Paul, you've got a background in all these guys, so we look forward to hearing your insight.
Oh, it's going to be fun. You know, I come out here a lot. I'm usually right behind home plate, so this will be a different view. And look forward to talking about a bunch of our guys throughout the system here in AA, AAA, and beyond.
And one player you know very well is the starting pitcher for the RoughRiders, Jose Leclerc, who had a perfect 1-2-3 inning, and he fires home strike one to Yason Asensio. You've known Jose for about the last 7 years.
Yeah, that is correct. We actually signed his brother, his older brother, Angelo, as Ryan Cordell makes a nice play to his left for the 5-3 putout. We signed Angelo a year before we signed Jose. Angelo, like I said, is in high desert right now pitching for the Mavericks. But we saw him at 14 years old in his Batey, little town in the Dominican Republic. And he's always had a quick arm. Command's always been one of the question marks with him, but you can't look past what he could potentially be, both as a starter or potentially a reliever like he was before this year.
One away, that's the first 4 that Leclerc has set down, and he brings a curveball over the inside edge to Tyson Gillies. At what point in the offseason, or maybe it was before then, did the organization say, you know, it's a good idea to get this guy starting experience? Because before this season, Leclerc had always been a relief pitcher and a closer last year.
No, he had been, and it been one of those things where we were trying to get him into a position where he was comfortable. He was always one of those overthrowers and trying to throw 100 miles an hour when really when he relaxed, it was 95, 97. Once he kind of figured that out, the next step was, can we get him to command the fastball better? And as a starter, you get more opportunities to do so. You get to hone your craft, develop his breaking ball, his changeup, which has always been his pitch, and really become a pitcher rather than just a thrower.
He gets the strikeout of Gillies, and boy, is Leclerc looks sharp here early.
I thought he was going to do the play-by-play on that one, too. Alex, we don't even need to be here. We'll just let him handle the rest of this game. We can go, it's Thirsty Thursday. We can go find dollar beers out there and let him do the work.
There you go.
Jose has looked sharp, and that changeup is really a special pitch for him.
It is, and like you mentioned in the first inning, it can do some different things. It's at times will act like a slider. At times it will, have your standard sinking action. It's a plus pitch, as we call it, on a 2 to 8 scale. It's a 6, some people a 7. It gets big league hitters out, and we hope it will one day.
Well, it's working against the Missions here early. 0-2 on Kyle Goodell, who hit a home run in this series in the opener on Tuesday night. 0-2 pitch from Leclerc, and he's able to hold back on a curveball. Ball and 2 strikes from Leclerc to Goodell. And at his age, 21, it's still probably too early to decide exactly what his role is going to be.
No, I agree, and it's our scouts have gone back and forth really, and our player development staff. It's what is this guy in next year? What's he in 2-3 years? How can he help us not only in the short term winning the big leagues, but in the long term? Could he be one of those guys that's plus fastball, plus breaking ball, plus curveball, plus changeup, so on and so forth, and start and give us 200 innings? That's what we're trying to figure out.
It seems like you've got a lot of guys like that. I mean, you can look at Andrew Faulkner and stuff like that, guys who can start or relieve, and it's just about finding their roles for them.
Absolutely, and this gives him a chance to, like you said, find his role and find what works for him. When he doesn't have his changeup working one day, is he able to go to his fastball command? He can't command the fastball. Can he find it with the other pitches? And as a reliever, you don't get that many opportunities in a game. You get them throughout the season, but this gives you an opportunity to get 100 pitches and see what happens.
Goodell goes down waving at a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and Leclerc strikes out 2 in another 1-2-3 inning. 3-0 Frisco as we go to the bottom of the second. 3-0 RoughRiders, and before we start the bottom of the second, let's turn things over to the public address announcer here at Dr. Pepper Ballpark, John Clemens.
Finally, fans, turn your attention to the third base dugout to welcome tonight's junior PA announcer. It's 9-year-old Noah from Plano.
Now batting first up, 29, Trevor Adams.
Great job by Noah, introducing the Nebraska native Trevor Adams. Starts off the bottom third of Frisco's order. Drew Robinson, a 3-run home run in the first. And Brian Rodriguez hits the outside corner for a strike to Adams, the DH tonight for Frisco. We're here with Paul Kruger, who is the manager of minor league operations for the Texas Rangers, and of course Anthony Andro. The 0-1 pitch is slapped foul off to the right side. Adams is a veteran on this team. He was a postseason All-Star last year. Hasn't quite had the year that I think that he would have liked this season, but still very useful guy to have, provide some punch and a veteran presence.
He is, and he can play all over the field. We even put him in catcher a little bit in spring training, try to make him even more versatile than he already is. But when you can do those things and you're a good person in the clubhouse, it goes a long way, and you play for a long time.
Adams tipped that ball, and it was caught by Crowell. He's arguing with Jacob Wilburn that he didn't tip it, but it's not going to be an argument that he'll win. And Rodriguez picks up his first strikeout.
Find me an argument with an umpire anybody ever wins.
That's one of those you probably have to hear it to really know. And Adams obviously disagreed. He's out on strikes, and here is Zach Cohn, former first-round draft pick out of the University of Georgia. Cohn is in his first Double-A season. And Zach got off to a very strong start playing with the High Desert Mavericks. He posted great offensive numbers after a couple of injury-plagued and offensively deficient last few seasons.
It was, and it was good to see. It was, we've had a lot of hope for this guy. He's able to do a lot of things. He's got power. He's got speed. He can go get it in the outfield, as we like to say. And he can play all three positions in the outfield and play them very, very well. So it was good to see him get off to a hot start. He struggled here a little bit in Double-A, but starting to pick it up and hopefully finish strong here in the last 10 days.
Pops that one up and over the screen on the first base side. 1-2 here on Cohn, who, as you mentioned, picking it up. He's got a 4-game hitting streak, has raised his average about 20 points to 229.
I think one of the tough things, too, as we go through, he had 1 year of pro ball, 1.5 years of pro ball, and then he gets hurt with this Achilles injury. And that's really tough. It's tough for any player, not to mention a college player who, your clock's already starting. So it's difficult to get over, and hopefully this is a little bit of a rebound year, and next year it just continues to build on what he's done this year.
He goes down swinging at a slider. Back-to-back strikeouts for Rodriguez. Hey fans, whether you wreck 'em, gig 'em, sick 'em, hook 'em, or prefer to boomer sooner, make sure you join us on Saturday, September 5th for College Night at Dr. Pepper Ballpark. We'll pit rival against rival, have college throwback specials all around the ballpark, including dollar beers. Make sure to wear your school colors and cheer loud on College Night, September 5th. Ball one to Luis Marte, and I know Anthony Andro, you're going to be rocking the maroon.
I will be rocking the maroon, and I will be in a suite at NRG Stadium in Houston when we're rocking the maroon.
Luis Marte grounds out, and the Riders go down in order. He bounced back inning for Rodriguez, and after 2, Frisco's lead is 3-0. The Rough Riders are all about value. That means giving you more bang for your buck. And your Bucks can buy a lot with the Raising Cane's Grand Slam Sunday, available for every Sunday home game, with the next one and final one of the season coming up Sunday, September 6th. You get 4 tickets, 4 Riders souvenirs, and 4 delicious 3-finger combos from Raising Cane's, all for only $39.50. That's a $150 value for only $39.50. Visit RidersBaseball.com to order your tickets today. Rough Riders out in front 3-0 as we start the third. Jose Leclerc has thrown 20 pitches over the first 2 innings. And he'll work to Dwanell Jones, third baseman, playing first base tonight for the Missions. .231 batter with 6 home runs and 34 runs batted in. And he gets ahead of Leclerc, 2 balls and no strikes. Jones was over at third base last night, had a tough game defensively. The 2-0 pitch is over for a strike with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, and a player that you remember seeing back right after he signed, Paul.
The D-Train is what we refer to him as. He actually didn't sign with us, but he was on what we call our Tricky League team, which is a team put together of some of our top players that sign on July 2nd, the international signing period, as well as some of the younger guys that have not signed yet. Dwarnell was on the team in 2009 with the likes of Jurickson Profar, Luis Sardinas, Luis Mendez.
And he hits a high drive out to left. This one's not coming back. It is way out of Dr. Pepper Ballpark.
That is one thing we saw many times as a kid. He's always been a big kid with big raw power. One of the nicer kids you'll meet, but when he gets on the field, he lets it rip.
And that one went over this little outdoor thing there in left field, and that it might have hit those buildings that they're being built out there and left.
Juanel Jones, his 14th home run of the season. That is his 7th at the Double-A level. You see it cleared the trees and went onto the road behind Dr. Pepper Ballpark. That gets the Missions on the scoreboard. It's now 3-1. And Leclerc gets ahead of Robert Crowell, the catcher. Crowell just called up from the Lake Elsinore Storm. That's the Advanced A affiliate for the San Diego Padres. He's playing in his 2nd Texas League game of the year, but we saw him going back as far back as 2012 in the Texas League. And he goes around there. It's 1-2. One and two here on Crowell. And a good stop by Corcoran, who's behind the dish tonight. Major League backstop. One player we want to talk about tonight, and we'll be talking about players from throughout the farm system, is another pitcher, one who's 2 levels below this with the Hickory Crawdads, and a name that should be familiar to folks who followed the Rangers draft, Dylan Tate, who is pitching for Hickory. His grounder is stabbed by Rodriguez. Crowell is retired 3 unassisted, and Tate, first-round pick for the Rangers this year, and after shut down for some time to maybe rest his arm, he's come back and thrown the ball really well.
He has, and he started, he had 1 outing in Spokane. And then he came back, and this is the 3rd outing today for Hickory. It's a special, effortless arm. It truly is. It's mid-90s fastball, both as a starter and as a reliever. He's been up to, and I saw him in Hickory 2 weeks ago, and he was up to 98 miles an hour. He's got a plus slider, and he's working on a change and a curveball in his live BP session. So he's got a chance to be a special, special arm for the Rangers for many years to come, and it's a fun player to watch as a Ranger.
Austin Bousfield gets a piece of Cordell's glove as Cone can't quite bring it in. Up to second goes Bousfield. Have to wait to see how that gets scored, but a line drive that ticked off of Cordell's glove and then wasn't picked up right away by Cone. So the Missions have a man at second base with 1 out, and that'll bring the tying run to the plate.
How closely with Tate are y'all going to monitor his innings, just because he made the transition? I know he hasn't pitched more than 2 innings since y'all have had him, but the transition from closer to starter, and obviously y'all invested a lot in the guy, and the future is so bright for him. I mean, is it just this? Is it we're just going to see 2 inning starts the rest of this year, and just kind of take it easy with him because he's already got so many innings on that arm after last year?
Yeah, it's a combo of that, and also getting kind of acclimated to our throwing program. When we throw our bullpens, our long toss program, and getting with Danny Clark and the rest of the pitching staff. Danny Clark, our pitching coordinator, does a tremendous job not only with our young guys, but developing arms throughout the entire system. And he puts a program together for all pitchers from the minute they sign. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what our goal is for this year. Next year, we're going to look to get you to X amount of innings. And they know. It's not like it's a shock when they're like, I'm only going to throw 1 inning every week. Right. It's all laid out for them. It's mapped out and kind of gets them acclimated to the pro style of playing every single day.
1-1 on Benji Gonzalez. And 1 hopper over to Robinson. Brief bobble. He'll go to third base. Shows off the great arm, and Cordell puts the tag down to retire Bousfield.
Heads up play. It looked like the bobble may have froze the runner a little bit. He was alert enough to look over to third.
Yeah, Robinson, he was a guy who was a third baseman, and last year was in right field. You guys have always liked the arm that Robinson has, and at second base, you don't get a chance to see it, but right there, flat-footed, throwing over to third base. Pretty impressive.
He can do a lot of things, and we touched on in the Rangers post-game show that he has great speed. He's got power, as you saw in the first inning with his long home run to right center field. And he also has an arm. He's got a lot of ability. It's just what's the best way to get it out of him and to utilize not only for our benefit, but for him. And one thing, as you're seeing more and more of in baseball nowadays, is guys floating around the field, utility players who can fill multiple roles. You got, your Adam Rosales who was with us for a majority of this season. Hanser Alberto now you've seen play third base. He's played shortstop. He's played second. If you can do things and you can play around the field and you can hit, you're going to find a spot. We can find a spot for you.
When you said it, I mean, you just look at this lineup here tonight with Cone can play in the 3 outfield spots. Cordell can play pretty much anywhere. So yeah, and him at second. So you've got a versatile group for sure in this organization.
Absolutely, and it gets you on the field. That's the big thing. It's, find a place for us to put you. If you can hit, we'll find a place for you. But otherwise, if you're versatile, it's like we talked about with Trevor Adams. You can get behind the dish. That increases your value tremendously.
Clerk gets a strike on 3-0. Facing Taylor Lindsay, who was a former first-round pick of the Angels a few years ago. At one point was the Angels' top prospect. It was last year. He was included in the Houston Street deal and is here in his first full season with the Padres organization. Popped out to the center fielder his first time. Runner at first, 2 down. 3-1 RoughRiders. And Lindsay takes a big swing at that 3-1 fastball.
With Tate, I guess today he gave up his first home run, but he was hitting, I think it was 99, I think, on the fastball today. And is that, y'all were talking mid-90s, but 97, 98, 99, is that something that we saw from him in college, or is that something that he's still developing and getting stronger?
I think it may be a combo of both, to be honest with you. It's, he's getting on our long toss program. He's doing our strength conditioning program, our conditioning program, so on and so forth. Napoleon Pichardo, who's our strength and conditioning coordinator, just like Danny does, puts together a program for these guys, and they'll continue it throughout the offseason, and we may see a bump in velocity. But also, his main focus right now is staying within himself. It's hard sometimes when you go out there for an inning, 2 innings, once a week. You want to show what you've got. I'm a first rounder. I'm the 4th overall pick. I want to show you why. And for us, it's just be yourself. Be what got you to where you are now. That's what makes you special.
Liner served out for Brinson, and he makes the grab. Lindsay's retired, and the only run they score is that home run by Dwanell Jones. They made it a 3-1 ball game, headed to the bottom of the 3rd. Well, one of the players we want to highlight tonight, a guy who's not going to be on the field anymore, but certainly had a very nice season playing for the Hickory Crawdads, and that is Josh Morgan, player who has got a high ceiling, and as we see here, a good two-way player.
He is, and he's known for his bat. He's got a knack for putting the bat to the ball. Drafted in 2014 in the 3rd round out of California. Unfortunately, like you mentioned, he did break his right index finger about 3 weeks ago, so he's out for the remainder of the year. Look forward to having him back in Instructional League, which takes place in Arizona from September 13th through October 16th, and get him going again. But like I said, knack for hitting, and he's also another one of those guys, like we talked about again, Anthony, that can really move around the field. He's played shortstop, third base, second base. He's just a guy that loves being out there. And where are you going to put me, Coach? I'll be there.
The thing I think I noticed most about him is if you look at his numbers, he's played more games this year, but I remember when he was drafted, the thing was he was a singles kind of hitter, but the extra base hits and everything have gone up a lot given the at-bats. But I mean, he's like got 20 extra base hits where he had like 6 last year and only like 50 more at bats or 75 more at bats. So it seems like he's developing more power and getting stronger in the organization too.
He is, and one thing we really stress too is a hard 90. When you give a hard 90 out of the box on any ball that's put in play, you can turn a single into a double, turn a double into a triple, and so on and so forth. And it's that effort 4 or 5 times a game that can really change your numbers.
Right.
I think we saw it the other night in the big league game, and guys are hustling down the line. It causes things to happen on the field, and that's what we preach. That's what we try to do in every game, in every level.
Wilder Rodriguez up at the dish, fouling off another pitch from Brian Rodriguez. Leadoff man here. We're talking about Josh Morgan, who was playing for the Hickory Crawdads this season. Hit .288, 3 home runs, 15 doubles, a triple. Long term, does he profile as one spot over another? You said he's a guy who can bounce around the infield. Is it too early for even him? He's 19 years old.
I think it is too early. I think One of the bright spots about that Hickory squad was you had Michael De Leon, you had Josh Morgan, you have Travis Demerit, who will be coming back in a few weeks. But they can bounce around. They need to be able to bounce around because you've got Elvis Andrews, you've got these guys above them that you want to make sure that, hey, I can get on the field. Coach, find a place for me. I'll play. I can play in the infield. They all have good gloves. They can all hit. So it's to be determined, I guess I should say.
And I guess you don't have to rush. Y'all have so much middle infield depth at the lower levels, and you're so strong with Elvis and with Odor that you don't have to mess with anything, because Elvis just turned 27, Odor's 21, so they can take their time and progress through the system at a regular rate.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the good things we have going in this organization is we've got a lot of talent. We've got a lot of talent at the upper levels and the lower levels, and we have time now to allow these guys to develop, to understand what it means to be a professional baseball player on and off the field, and that's huge. In years past, this is my 7th season with the organization. At times, we've had to push guys and push it because we didn't have anybody in those spots. Now it's because they've earned it. They followed our philosophies and they're executing our plan. Then they earned their promotion.
Ryan Cordell, another guy with positional versatility. He takes a strike, 1-1. Cordell popped out to right his first time. We saw him in center last night. He's at third tonight. He started the year playing shortstop. He's even got in some games at first base. I think he's played everywhere except pitcher and catcher as a member of the Rangers organization.
One of the crazy things is that he didn't play the infield last year, and we went to instructional league, and Casey Candell, who was our infield coordinator at the time and is now our field coordinator, had this idea that in instructs we're going to put people in different positions so they get the feel for what it's like to Joey Gallo play center field, Jorge Alfaro, who was with us at the time, play left field, see what it's like out there. So hey, if there's an error or the guy doesn't make a good first step, you know what it's like. And we put him at shortstop, and he had the actions, he had the footwork, and Casey's like, let's try it, let's see how it works and see how it plays out, and played out pretty well if you ask me.
Rodriguez, he is really starting to pick it up here after that rocky first inning. He records his 4th strikeout of the last 5 batters he's faced, and that'll bring up Lewis Brinson, who's singled back in the first. Good look at that bender from Rodriguez. And this is the type of spot that pitchers like to face Brinson in. 2 outs, nobody on. Lewis was able to pull one through the left side of the infield his last time. And Brinson has reached base safely in 81 of the 89 games he's played this season.
Really has been a difference for Lewis and his approach. Early in the count when he is in advantage counts, as we call them, which are 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, looking for a pitch he can drive. He has ability to hit the ball a long way. He's got a quick bat. He's got a powerful bat, and he can run. So he puts a ball in the gap, he's going to get a double or a triple. And that, not many people can do that. I know I couldn't do that. That's why I'm not on the field. But no, he can do a lot of things. He's a special player. And it was just about finding who he is as a player. I think that's one of the big things in the minor leagues. And the reason we have as many affiliates as we do in baseball is it takes a while to determine what kind of player you are. You have to struggle. There's peaks and valleys. But how can we minimize the valleys to get to more peaks?
Great snare by Goris, and on the other end, Jones is able to pull in the low throw. Brinson trying to get an infield hit, but denied by the man at the hot corner. 3-1 Rough Riders. We're going to the 4th. Hey fans, are you a Texas Farm Bureau member? If so, you can get 2 free tickets to any Rough Riders home game for the rest of the season. That's right, 2 free Riders tickets to any game for the rest of the 2015 season. All you have to do is show proof of membership at the Dr. Pepper Ballpark box office to get your free tickets. Visit Facebook.com/Texas Farm Bureau Insurance to find out how to become a Texas Farm Bureau member today. 3-1 Frisco as we head to the 4th. And strike 1 delivered to Diego Goris. They say there's a mathematical probability if you make a great defensive play to close out an inning 11% of the time, you lead off the next inning.
11, I like that.
I think Tom Grieve used that something similar today, because after Venable made the play and left for the Rangers, he led off the next inning. It didn't go so well for him in that at bat, though. So
Goris Lined out to center his first time. Made a very nice play, saving that ball from having to be played by Gonzalez, who was backing him up. Probably wouldn't have been able to throw out Brinson.
He's a long strider.
He waves at that slide, or curveball, excuse me. Leclerc doesn't throw a slider. Sometimes it looks like it, but he gets his third strikeout.
One of the things we've been pressing a lot with Leclerc and the rest of our young pitchers, and really all of our pitchers throughout the system, is something called the 60-foot 6-inch club. And with that, it's, can we throw 60% first pitch strikes? Can we throw 60% 1-1 strikes? And can we throw 66% of the time, can we get the first guy out of the inning? If we can do that, we're going to be very successful, not only as a team, but as an individual.
He's gotten the first guy out 3 of the 4 times tonight.
1-1 on Yeson Asensio. And it's 2-1. Talking with the pitching coach for the Rough Riders, Jeff Andrews, and he talks about what you're talking about, playing those percentages. And sometimes it's not always going to work out, but if you do that more often than not, if you play to those numbers that you put out there, you're going to have success.
Yeah, we ran a stat, I think it was earlier in this season. It was for the 2014 season, actually. It was, if you get the 1-1 pitch and you throw a strike, you win, and you get it more than 67% of the time, you win over 70% of your games. So think about that. 70% of your games, you win if you do that. It's astounding.
Leclerc is hitting all the right percentages tonight. He gets a pop out to Drew Robinson, and there are 2 away for Tyson Gillies. One mistake, the home run to Dwanell Jones lead off the last inning. Gillies hit a home run last night. He was on the Canadian Pan Am American Games team.
Now that was a crazy finish. Did you see that one? It was international rules. You start first and second, nobody out in extra innings. USA scored 2 in their top half, and Canada responded on a botched pickoff play to tie and win the game and win the gold. It was something I talked to Kellen Deglin about a lot. He was also on that Canadian team, and it's a memory those guys will cherish for a long time.
Yeah, Alex, didn't you say, we did this broadcast, didn't he bring the gold medal here or something like that?
He brought it to the clubhouse in High Desert and showed it off on his locker room chair. Pop out, Gillies to Marte, and another 1-2-3 inning for Jose Leclerc through 3.5. Rough Riders on top 3-1. Bottom half of the 4th here at Dr. Pepper Ballpark, and the Rough Riders have a 3-1 lead, and that's because of one swing of the bat from Drew Robinson, who will lead off here in the 4th inning. And back in the 1st, Robinson, after going inside the park for home run number 20, he did a much more conventional route here in this ball game. See that pretty stroke, and that is the swing that made him a 4th-round draft pick.
It was, and he's always had that stroke. Now, when you see him really going well is when he's using the gaps. At times he'll get a little pull happy and try to wrap around the baseball. But when he's going like he has been lately with the 4 home runs in the last 6 games, it's when it's gap power. He's got that gap power. He's got that speed. Just utilize it.
Takes the first from Brian Rodriguez, and we talked about him in the Ranger postgame show. He's special in that he walks a lot. He's up there among the league leaders in bases on balls, and he's got 82 already this season in the top 5 in the league, and that power is a pretty good combination as he shoots that one into the glove of Jones, who makes a nice stab, and Rodriguez there to take the throw.
It is a good combo because when you have that power, at times guys are going to try to get you to fish for pitches outside of the zone, chase breaking balls, so on and so forth. And he's got a knack for looking for his pitch, swinging at strikes, and that'll go a long way because as you kind of go up on the levels, as Anthony, as strike zone shrinks.
Right.
You get better umpires, you get better command of pitches, and if you can lay off those now, it's very helpful.
It's impressive when you look at the numbers when he's hitting what, 235, and he's of the guys on this roster, he's leading them in on-base percentage. He's like 366, and it just shows that batting average isn't always the be-all, end-all, and if you're on base, you give someone else that you pass the baton, and I know that's something also y'all talk about in this organization, that if you trust the guys behind you that they're going to do the job too. If you get on base, that the next guy's going to pick you up, and he's definitely bought into that.
Absolutely, and that's good to see, and he continues to get better at and improve in every way possible, and the averages are creeping up there this year. He's he's ending the season on a powerful and strong note, both in the home run category and also in the average category. So you hope for big things as we push forward here in the end of 2015 and 16.
Carlos Corcoran ahead here 2-1. He grounded out to the first baseman his first time. Here on a rehab assignment, strained left thumb. 2-1 pitch from Brian Rodriguez is high. Corcoran has a former teammate in the minor leagues in the starting lineup for the RoughRiders, Wilder Rodriguez. The two of them came up together as members of the Brewers. They played on 4 different Brewer affiliates. Now find them back playing here tonight together. Here's a base hit through the right side. Corcoran, that is almost exactly an image of what he did last night for his hit. Yanks that one past the dive of Lindsey, and that's the first Frisco knock since the Robinson homer.
It's amazing you mentioned that Corcoran story. You hear that all the time. Players that played together, coaches that played, and the stories that they have. Casey Candell, our field coordinator, has some of the best stories of all time, and he talked a lot about Biggio from his Hall of Fame induction, and things like that are what make it fun. It's fun to sit around the clubhouse and talk baseball. It's good for our players to hear what it's like in the big leagues, and have guys, especially Corcoran, who's a tremendous person and has done a lot for this in his 2 days here for our catchers and for our players, because he's not afraid to answer questions that guys may have.
Show you what a small world it is. Their strength and conditioning coach on that 2008 Huntsville Stars team, Eric McMahon, who was the strength and conditioning coach for the RoughRiders.
That's amazing. It is, and it's just funny because everybody knows everybody in this game. We have 8 minor league teams, and that's the norm for most organizations. So you do the math there: 8 teams times 30 organizations, 240 minor league teams. That's a lot of players, and they all seem to be connected one way or another.
0-2 here on Preston Beck. Grounded out to the second baseman his first time. Batting with 1 on and 1 out. Frisco on top 3-1. Beck, a local product out of the University of Texas at Arlington. He's a Dallas native. His dad is here to watch him play tonight.
I remember when he was called up in High Desert, and that was one of the things he mentioned. He talked about, playing at home, playing in UTA, having his dad in the stands quite frequently. He's playing first tonight, but he has an absolute cannon. He has what we call a plus arm. It's he can play the outfield. He's played the outfield for a long time, and he can show it off.
Yeah, I remember that at UTA. I think he was one of the best defenders there when he was in college.
So yeah, he'll float out there in right field. He plays first. He's once again another one of those versatile players that we have in the organization.
Yeah, some of his teammates have said that he actually has the best arm from the outfield in the entire organization.
And they are probably right. It's a special thing to watch.
This season he has 7 outfield assists in less than half a season here in Double-A. So he whacks that one foul. He's slumping a little bit right now, but it has been a positive second half of the season. We've seen him make an adjustment. We've seen a lot of guys over the years. Of course, they're going to struggle a little bit with the level change, seeing better pitchers, better stuff, more consistency. And so you wait to see when they make that adjustment, and Preston did a nice job of that here as the second half of the season's gone on.
He did, and that's a big part of the game. And you see it a lot in the big leagues, and especially in the minor leagues, like you mentioned. It's guys figure you out, and you also have to figure out the level. It gets tougher every level you go, and some people will argue that the high A jump to the Double-A jump is one of the toughest, if not the toughest, jump in all of minor league baseball. And you see it a lot where all the guys, every arm that you see has something plus in their repertoire, or otherwise they wouldn't be here. And his ability to adjust to the pitchers when they're adjusting to him has really helped him out here at the end.
And he waves at that slider. That has been the out pitch for Rodriguez tonight. He gets his 5th strikeout, and they've all come on that bender. 2 away to bring up Trevor Adams.
First on the edge, Trevor Adams.
Here you see diving after that one by his back foot. So Beck is down on strikes. Adams, the DH, has a 5-game hitting streak coming into tonight's game. Brian Rodriguez. Goes with the breaking ball. Now, your background in baseball, it didn't start as a player. You mentioned that you're not out there on the field playing, and there are different routes that people can take in baseball that don't necessarily start with swinging a bat and having a glove at a high level.
No, and the highlight of my baseball career, I guess you could say, was my sophomore year. I led the league in sacrifice bunts, and that was in high school. So I was a heck of a player if you put 2 and 2 together. But no, I went to the University of Missouri and had the chance to be the team manager as well as the bullpen catcher. While I was there, we attended 4 regionals, 1 super regional. Had the likes of Max Scherzer at our university, Kyle Gibson, Nick Tepish, Brett Nicholas, who was a former Rough Rider and is now an Express member. He was there as well. So it was fun to be around those guys.
Adams grounds out. We go to the 5th, 3-1 Frisco. The Hickory Crawdads, which we've talked about tonight at length. Another player who with a good future in front of him is left-hander Brett Martin, who this season with Hickory has a 3.38 ERA. He's part of a very good Hickory staff this season that probably has been the most impressive staff as a whole, and Martin has been a big reason why.
He has, and Oscar Marine, who is our pitching coach in Hickory, has done a tremendous job with those guys. Brett was a 4th-round pick in 2014 out of Walter State, who was... And the manager of that club was actually Joey Seaver when he signed. Joey Seaver is now our AZL pitching coach. So we had a little bit of a connection there. But Brett has a chance to be a very special arm. Another one of the special arms that we have in the system. He's 6'4", projectable left-handed starter who throws from a high 3/4 slot, big, broad shoulders. A fastball is 89 and can get it up to 93, 95 on occasion, with a plus curveball that's really come into his own. And he's thrown it for more strikes, which has been a big thing to work on. And his confidence right now is at an all-time high. Like I mentioned earlier, I was out in Hickory 2 weeks ago, and he's just out there with a different feel. He has that feel of, I'm going to get you out, I'm going to come attack you, and that's what we want as a pitching staff.
You look at his numbers, I think he's allowed 5 earned runs in his last 4 starts. He had 8 strikeouts in his last start. So I guess that just goes with that confidence you talk about. And when you say 89, 92, 93, people are like, huh, but when it's from the left side, it's a whole nother animal, I guess.
Absolutely, and we talk about angle a lot, and this guy has big angle. It's like throwing from a cliff and just straight downhill plane. When you have that, it's very hard to see and to hit as a hitter.
Robinson able to find that ball. It's a little bit of a tough sky with the sun setting. But in the lights and in the twilight, Robinson able to make the grab, and there's one away to bring up Dwanell Jones. This is the only run of the night, but boy, was it impressive off the bat of Jones. That was back in the 3rd. It was the first hit for San Antonio, and got the Missions to within 2. Well, if you're left-handed and you have a future, you're somebody that the Rangers are going to be very interested in, basically because of all the issues that the team has had really finding dependable lefties, it seems like, especially this year, the first half of the year.
No, absolutely. I think, the trades we had a few weeks back hopefully have solidified that a little bit with the addition of Diekman, and then obviously with Dyson, who is a right-handed reliever, but he's done a lot to shore that up. I think on the minor league side, Brett is a starter. He's going to stay in that starter role for hopefully a long time to come. He's a competitor, too. You see him out on the mound. He's one of the nicest kids in the clubhouse, but one of those bulldogs on the mound that you seem to see a lot. And those are the guys you want on there. You want them to want to have the ball when the game's on the line, and he's one of those type of guys. And like I mentioned earlier, Oscar Marine has done a tremendous job with that entire staff that has Brett Martin, Ariel Jurado, who's a right-handed starter who's put up big numbers this year. Colin Wiles, bounce-back year after injury-plagued 2014. And Luis Ortiz, first-rounder from last year.
Ball 1 to Robert Crowell, who bounced out to Rodriguez his first time.
Yeah, you're talking about those guys, but you talk a little bit about what we're seeing here tonight. This has been as impressive as started. I've done some games with Alex this year, but what he's doing here tonight is one of the better performances we've seen out of Frisco starters so far this year. Leclerc's really dealing.
No, he is, and he just looks in control, and it gets back to that 60-foot, 6-inch club. He's attacking. He's going after these guys and making them hit in his counts and not getting behind into advantage counts and giving the hitter the advantage in those situations.
And also one of the things, it seems like he is working very quickly. I mean, we've got that pitch clock and stuff, but it hasn't even come into play. I think that probably speaks to the confidence he's feeling when he just wants the ball to get it and get it going.
Absolutely, and it's one of those things you mentioned too, Alex. He's not having to think about it. It doesn't get mechanical. I'm going to go up there. I know I can do it. Have confidence in yourself. Get extension on the front side. Get out front and throw strike.
That walk to corral is the first walk of the night for Leclerc, something that's plagued him for much of the season, but not tonight. And if you're going to walk a batter, you could find worse spots than 2 outs, the number 8 man.
And that's my fault anyways for starting to bring the conversation back to him. I apologize.
For Leclerc, it might not be a terribly long outing despite how efficient he's been. He missed some time because of a death in the family, was placed on the inactive list. He came back, pitched 2 innings on Friday night, so this is his first start since early this month. And he only threw 29 pitches his last time out there, so it's not going to be a night where he reaches 100 pitches or anywhere close to there.
Yeah, we've got some action, it looks like, in the Frisco bullpen too, so this could be the last inning for him, and if it is, he certainly accounted for himself very well.
Fly ball to right center field, and Brinson just gliding into the gap, able to make that catch look effortless. Runner is left at first, and Jose Leclerc spins 5 excellent innings tonight. We're halfway through this one, 3-1 Frisco. Hey kids, make sure to join us on Sunday, September 6th, and if you're one of the first 2,000 fans 12 and under inside the ballpark, you get this awesome kids replica Riders slate blue jersey. That's Sunday, September 6th for your free kids replica slate blue jersey. RoughRiders wear the blue sometimes. Tonight they're going with the red, and that has worked out well for them. Their last 5 wins have come wearing the red jerseys. The Missions changed their uniforms in the offseason. They have the midnight blue jersey with the M shaped like the Alamo outline on those hats. Brian Rodriguez has worn it well ever since a rocky first inning when he gave up a home run. He's only allowed 1 base runner since the first, and he'll work to the 8, 9, and 1 batters for the RoughRiders in the 5th.
He's another guy like we talked about. He's going right at these guys.
And Cone going right after the first pitch down the left field line. He's going to try for 2. Here's the throw from Gillies. He's safe. Hustle double for Zach Cone, his 8th in the Texas League. And Frisco's got a man in scoring position.
That looks like it goes back to what you were talking about earlier, making the hard 90 and turn into what could be a single into a double, and I guess that's the philosophy y'all have.
Absolutely, and you never know. Like, he could bobble it out there. I think we saw it in the big league game today. You know, Wilson, Speed Demon Wilson running around the bases from second to home, and Bautista ended up picking up his glove, and next thing you know, we've got a 4-run cushion. So when you play hard and you run hard, good things are going to happen.
Luis Marte showing a bunt, getting it down. Rodriguez, the bare hand throw, he is out. Jones taking it, up to third goes Cone. Beautiful sacrifice bunt. And that's not something that I've noticed that the Rangers do not do a whole lot of. Is that a philosophy thing, or is it more personnel and situation? You let the manager decide what's right?
I think it's more of a personnel of the manager decision. I think it's one of those things that we would like to do a little bit more, and I think it's the situation. It's, does it present itself like it did there? But it's a very important part of the game. It's one of those where you may be hitting second, third, or fourth in AAA or AA, but you go to the big leagues and you're probably going to hit 7, 8, 9 in your first day there, first week, month, whatever the case may be. But you have to be able to get a sac bunt down. You have to be able, in the 8th inning, to runner on second base, remove the runner from second to third with the ball hit to the right side. And it's not easy, but it's something that you have to work on and you really have to focus in on, because that's a big run out there. Right now it's 3-1, moving the guy over to third base. If we can get this insurance run, that's going to be huge.
Well, you don't have to go look further than last night's Rangers game. It was a 12-4 final, but in the 4th inning, Rangers get the first 2 guys on. Strasburger's up against David Price in a 2-2 game, and he was unable to get the bunt down. Strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. If he gets the run over to third, then you're a fly ball. It's a 3-2 game, and everything maybe changes in that game.
Runner off on contact, and so Wilder Rodriguez gets that man in. RBI ground out, and Cone once again off immediately with that speed and that hustle, helping him get a run get all the way to second base on the base knock, and then come home and not even make a play at the plate.
Absolutely. And, Bruce Hines, Jeter, as we call him, he's our infield and our base running coordinator, and he really pushes the contact play. It's, see that ball, make contact with the barrel, and take off. Now, there's going to be times where you're going to get burned by a line drive right at the first baseman. But 9 times out of 10, if you're going hard, even if the infield's in, like you saw there, they're going to have no play.
Wilder's not complaining. That's an easy RBI. He goes 10 feet to get an RBI, basically.
Absolutely.
Ball 1 to Ryan Cordell. He's 0 for 2.
And I think that the base running philosophy gets back to our overall philosophy. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Getting ready to hit. Getting ready in the field. It's always looking to be one step ahead of the game, one step ahead of the opponent. And just like that, Cone was one step ahead of the defense in that situation, and it paid off for an easy run.
Pressure can do so much. It can force mistakes. It can, of course, give you runs that maybe weren't there if you don't try and push for it. And, we've seen that the last couple of years with teams that have made it deep into the playoffs. The pressure they put on, maybe whether it's team speed or just the style of aggression, it can be very helpful.
Absolutely, and it's executing the fundamentals as well. It's you're putting pressure on the other team to execute the everyday fundamental of playing the game of baseball, the PFP plays. The Detroit World Series a few years back against the Cardinals, they couldn't execute a bunt PFP play, and the Cardinals ended up running away with that series. They get really drawn out to a bigger standard in the playoffs because it's on that national stage. It's Frisco last year in the playoffs had a tough time with some PFPs, and unfortunately that cost them in the playoffs. And it's something we've really put a lot of onus in getting better at.
Here's a nice piece of hitting by Ryan Cordell. That slider has been working wonders for Rodriguez tonight, but here Ryan just waits back on it, punches it through. And what do you know, we get Lewis Brinson a bat with a man on and 2 outs.
And Cordell, 4-game hitting streak now, so he continues starting to turn around a little bit.
Brinson 1 of 2. And they'll check on Ryan, who is a threat to go. This is one of those situations where you'd like to be able to put that man in scoring position, but you have to hedge. Do you really want to have a chance of a guy getting thrown out with your best hitter at the plate?
No, it's one of those tough situations that the game presents. I think kind of an interesting thing. Last year in 2014 Instructional League, we had a race between Chris Correa and Ryan Cordell. And you may think that Chris would run away with it, but it was neck and neck. Ryan is one of the fastest players in our organization. He has stolen quite a few bases this year, and he covers ground in center field. Obviously tonight he's playing third, but it's very rare you see a guy who was a center fielder be able to play third base, have the power to play third base, but have the speed to play center field. He's able to do that.
Cordell has 18 steals this year. He was caught for the first time in the Texas League last night, but 3 straight years in the pros he's had at least 18 steals.
No, that's great. It's something we continue to push with him, with Lewis, with all these guys, like we talked about numerous times this evening, is being aggressive, getting to that next base. He gets a second, like you mentioned. He gets a single. We've got ourselves a 5-1 ball game.
1-1 on Brinson. Cordell held on by Jones. He stays, and Brinson fouls away the 1-1. Lewis has just had a heck of a season. He is 10th in all of minor league baseball in batting average. He is first in slugging among all minor leaguers, second in OPS, and I would say he may have the inside track on Rangers Minor League Player of the Year. I'm not going to try and have you
trying to sway our votes over here. No, he's had a tremendous year.
Say that, Alex. Those are things that are announced in the off season and press releases, and they got to sell tickets for a banquet. So.
December's a slow month.
Yeah. But no, it's been great. It's the second year in a row he's repeated a level to start the year. Not as a bad thing. It was more of, we're going to focus in on these things that Lewis needs to do to get better, and he's bought in.
He cannot hold up on the slider, and the Riders leave a man at first, but they do get a run manufactured. The RBI fielder's choice by Rodriguez makes it 4-1 RoughRiders. Hey fans, the baseball season is winding down and football season is here. Help us kick it off with a free RoughRiders football courtesy of Dr. Pepper on Saturday, September 5th. That's right, a free Riders football for the first 2,000 fans on Saturday, September 5th. Get to Dr. Pepper Ballpark early to make sure you get your free Riders football. We have got a completely new battery here on the mound and behind the dish as Jose Valdespina comes in out of the bullpen. The hard thrower stands 6 feet 6 inches tall. He made his Double-A debut 2 weeks ago here on Fox Sports Southwest. It didn't go all that smoothly for him, but he has settled down nicely, and he'll be throwing to new catcher Kellen Deglin as Carlos Corporan done after 5 innings tonight. Valdespina is a guy to watch out for in this organization. Certainly fun to watch with a heavy, high 90s fastball.
It is. He'll sit around 95, 98 the majority of his outing with heavy sink. And he's another one of those guys that has that true angle to his fastball. Being 6'6", and you get that downhill plane, that's pretty tough to hit.
Bouncing ball foul off the bat of Benji Gonzalez, who's 0 for 2. Gonzalez reached in a fielder's choice his last time on that play that Drew Robinson threw out the runner at third.
Valdespina is another one of those guys that came up through our DSL program. The two-time defending champion DSL Rangers are competing for another title as we speak. They're 1-1 in the semifinals, so a big game against the DSL Astros tomorrow to hopefully advance to their 3rd consecutive final.
How tough is it to project down there when the players are 16, 17 years old? A lot of them, not most of them, never been to the United States.
It's very tough. There's a lot that goes into it. Gil Kim, our international director, does a great job with that.
Deglin one-hopping that one into Rodriguez's glove. Great pick. That was a tricky play for Deglin to handle, but they get the out. It goes 2-3.
Yeah, and it's very tough. We start, like I mentioned earlier, when they're 14, 15, seeing them at their programs with their agents, and they're training year-round down there as 14 and 15-year-olds. So you're trying to project out 7, 8, 9 years down the road what they may be, what they may look like. And I just remember back to when I was 14, 15, and if they would have scouted me then, I'd probably be in the big leagues right now. But unfortunately, my skills went down when I hit that 16-year-old mark. But a lot goes into it. It's, we visit their schools in the Dominican Republic. We're around these guys for years. MLB rules now is they are only allowed to be in our complex for a 30-day stretch every 6 months. So that kind of prohibits, but we can go visit them, get to know their families, get to know their programs, get to know who they are as a person.
Taylor Lindsay skies one out to left and right in front of the scoreboard. Cone makes the catch for out number 2. Well, we mentioned Deglin at the start of the inning. I want to talk about a catcher who is a couple of levels below this. Another member of that Hickory Crawdads team that is headed to the postseason. That's Jose Trevino. You see the powerful bat description. He's got 13 home runs. He's hitting .272. What can you tell us about Jose?
He's always had an ability to hit. It's a good short swing. He has a good eye, and he just barrels a lot of baseballs. He leads our organization, or he's on the top in hard hit percentage, and one thing we calculate internally. But this year's been an interesting year for him because it's the first year he's been a true catcher, and a catcher for over 140 game season. I mean, it's tough. It wears you down, but he's held up. In college, he played shortstop, third base, caught a little bit, caught Chichi Gonzalez at Oral Roberts. And then as he was going up in Spokane last year, he played a little short, played a little third, and caught a little bit. But now the focus is, can we develop him as a catcher? He may be one of our top guys right now.
When we talked to John Daniels after July, after y'all traded Talise and Alfaro, it is a glaring area in the organization, especially a catcher who can hit. There are just not a whole lot of them in this organization. So if you can find someone, and it looks like you have on this one, because the road from Hickory to the majors, there's not a lot there. I mean, Cantwell's a good player, but there's not a whole lot really in the organization. So I guess y'all have to try to find one somewhere.
Absolutely, and Deglin, a former first-round pick, he's another guy like we're seeing tonight. He's a very defensive-oriented catcher that the bats come along. He has a lot of power, but it's just a continuous improvement.
Wilder Rodriguez had to see if there was a catching glove on his hand as Valdespina fired a fastball over to him. Coming up, the Rough Riders will see a different backstop bat for the first time tonight. Rough Riders out in front 4-1 tonight. Yohander Mendez, another member of that excellent Hickory Crawdads pitching staff. He's been used as a starter and a reliever this year. 1.86 ERA, another left-hander, another guy who's really thrown the ball well down in the South Atlantic League.
He has, and really the key to his season this year has been staying healthy. He's battled injuries in his first 3 seasons, both in the DSL, Spokane, and Hickory in 2014. And he was in the bullpen to really manage those innings, to not get him to 75, for example, in the first half and allow him to pitch late into the year. He got a fastball 89, 95, but the pitch that he's known for is that changeup. He's got a really good changeup from the left side, 82, 86 miles an hour, very deceptive, and really just keeps hitters off balance.
Is he another one of those pitchers that have y'all found what he's going to be? Is he going to be a starter, or is he a guy that can do different things, and y'all are still trying to figure that out?
I think that the goal is to keep him as a starter and keep him as long as we can in that role. But you never know. It's one of those things you asked us a year ago, and Faulkner, for us, could have been a starter. Now, can he still be a starter? You look at guys like C.J. Wilson, who we had a few years ago, who kind of came up as a starter, moved to the bullpen, did a great job in the bullpen, then moved back to being a starter for the Rangers. So you keep those guys in that starting role, as we like to say, for a long period of time, because it allows them to develop their pitches better throughout the course of a game and not just rely on their fastball if they've got that going, or just their changeup because they can throw it 10 out of 15 times and get 3 hitters out. You have to develop your repertoire as a starter rather than as a reliever.
Robinson swings and misses at a 1-2 breaking ball, and he is out on strikes. That's the 7th strikeout for Brian Rodriguez, and that will bring up Kellen Deglin for the first time tonight. Seems like the Rangers done a fine job over the last 5 years of finding left-handers with really good changeups. Remember going back to Miguel de los Santos, had a great one. Alex Claudio, who's been back and forth between the big leagues and AAA. The RoughRiders have Edward Cabrera, formerly of the Rockies organization. It seems like a strength of the organization.
It is. It's something we push hard. Danny Clark, our pitching coordinator, and his entire staff, ranging from the AZL to the DSL with Henderson Lugo. We really push it, the use of it. We want to make sure that these guys understand it's a very important pitch. It can be very, very helpful if it's deceptive and thrown for a strike.
We talked. Someone asked me when I did an interview with Mike Maddox about that how important the changeup is for this organization, and he said pitchers are sometimes reluctant because it's not a sexy pitch, but if it's an effective pitch, that's all that matters, right?
Absolutely. And you look at the Tampa Bay Rays for a long period of time. They've been known to throw that changeup, and that changeup can be very successful. You can get weak ground balls. Your fastball plays up if you have that changeup, if you have a very good off-speed breaking pitch, and that changeup's one that can be a weapon for you.
Another strikeout for Brian Rodriguez. Kellen Deglin goes down on 3 pitches. 8 strikeouts for Rodriguez. Coming into the day, had 67 in 116 innings, so he has really started to rack them up. But his team trails 4-1 here in the last of the 6th. We'll face Preston Beck again. RoughRiders went ahead early thanks to a Drew Robinson home run. It was a 3-run shot back in the first inning. Here with Paul Kruger, who is the manager of minor league operations for the Texas Rangers, and Anthony Andro. I'm Alex Vespoli. As Beck takes outside. Rodriguez has pitched well here against Frisco. Just a couple of small mistakes tonight.
He has, and really after that first inning, like you said, he's been lights out.
Beck takes high and outside. You've talked a lot about the coaches that you have throughout the organization. That's part of what makes this farm system so strong. It's not necessarily just the players. It's having the Danny Clarks, having the Jeff Andrews, the Joe Mikulicks, the Jason Woods, guys that can help guide these players and are really the chief developers.
Absolutely, and they're with them day in and day out. We talk a lot about it. It's, I come in, I travel, I'll see the RoughRiders about 20, 30 times this year, go to each affiliate. Really just about 10 times or 10 games I'll see. These guys are with them for 140 games, 150 plus days out of the year. These guys know these guys like the back of their hand. Sometimes better than their families over the summer because it's who they ride those 8-hour bus rides with. But they can pass on our message, not only as an organizational message, but their messages from when they were players, and continue to grow these guys both on the field and off the field, because off the field is just as important. There's a lot of things that go on that you need to do for the organization, for your life, for your family, that you need to develop. You need to learn and become a man, and these guys do a tremendous job of doing that.
Did any part of you ever want to go into the coaching side of baseball, or was it always the player development scouting side?
When I was a senior in high school and a freshman in college, I was the sophomore American Legion coach for the Manchester post-208 fighting team. I didn't really have a name other than that, and I enjoyed it. But you know, I enjoy what I do now. You know, these guys are way more advanced in their knowledge of the game of baseball and the stories that they have and their I guess ideals that they can pass along. And I wouldn't have anybody else other than the coaches we have in our organization. They do a tremendous job.
2-0 here on Trevor Adams. 1 on and 2 outs. And Rodriguez's pitch slammed out to center field. Bousfield on the run. He makes a nice lunging grab to send us to the 7th inning. Good ground covered by Austin Bousfield. RoughRiders leave a man at first. We are through 6 from Dr. Pepper Ballpark. Back to school is here, and we want to send you back in style with a free Frisco RoughRiders backpack courtesy of Medical City Children's Hospital Urgent Care. All you have to do is visit a Medical City Children's Hospital Urgent Care location and ask for your free Frisco RoughRiders backpack. Nothing to sign up for, no catch. They just want you to enjoy this free stylish Riders backpack. Hurry, quantities are limited. Visit ridersbaseball.com for more information. Always a tough time of year when you have to go back to school.
Glad those days are over in some regards.
Not if you got a kid. 7:25, he's got to be in class.
That means you have to be up a little bit earlier, Anthony?
I got to take him to school. So Dad's up at 6 regardless of what time that Rangers-Blue Jays game ends the night before.
Jason Asensio is the batter. He's ahead here 2-0 against Jose Valdespina, who went 1-2-3 in the 6th inning and showed off his fielding prowess in addition to what he does on the mound.
He did there, and he's a big guy, as you can see, 6'6", covers a lot of ground, and he really hopped off the mound there in the 6th inning very well.
Pitch down and in. Valdespina, does he fit that mold of the players that have kind of come before him, the Roman Mendez's, the Wilmer Fonts guys that, you know, you're certainly on the radar for 40-man eligibility when you need to make that decision as a high ceiling, high upside reliever?
He is. That fastball, he can run up there 94, 98 miles an hour. There's a lot of value in that. Power arms, as you see in the game of baseball now, they're at premium. Every bullpen is loaded with those kind of arms, and you want to protect the ones you have. You don't want them to go somewhere else and gonna bite you.
Yeah, look at the trade deadline moves when y'all got Diekman and Dyson. The one thing they were lacking in the bullpen that may have held them back a little bit earlier this year were power arms, and that's what you got. And the bullpen ERA since then is just over 3, so it plays at every level.
Luis Marte on the run, able to retire Jason Asensio, and despite falling behind 3-0 to start, Valdespina comes back to get the first man of the inning.
That's one thing he's really been working on, is controlling his emotions. Times Valdi allows the game to get a little bit quick. Takes that breath like you just saw there, and kind of relaxes, get on the mound, trust yourself, and deliver a strike. That's kind of his thought process. Keep it simple.
Facing Tyson Gillies, he's 0 for 2. Valdespina again fielding his position nicely. Snow coning that one hopper, and there are 2 quick outs.
And he took a little something off the throw to first that time, too.
Guessing G-Rod, being the veteran, told him, hey, tranquilo, tranquilo.
Slow it down.
You mentioned Wilder Rodriguez and being a veteran. His presence, I mean, it goes beyond anything he does in terms of numbers on the field. He is such a guide for all these players who are maybe new to this part of the country or this country in general.
Absolutely, and as you've seen over the years, being with the Riders, is we're typically young in the AA level. And G-Rod, being the veteran he is, and kind of going through the battles here in AA, AAA, having that chance last year to go up to the big leagues was very beneficial. He helps these guys with stuff away from the field, on the field, tells them to take a breath at times, enjoy the game, don't let it get too big and too important, because that's baseball. At the end of the day, it's a game. It should be fun. It's a form of entertainment for the fans. You know, if you're not having fun playing it, you're not going to be successful. That's what we want our guys to do, and he does a good job of passing that message along.
Speaking of entertainment, the player at the dish right now, Kyle Goodell, part of one of the most notorious entertainment bits in Major League Baseball history. Kyle Goodell is the great nephew of Eddie Goodell of Bill Veeck fame.
I was hoping y'all could have called up Joe Jackson so we could have had the descendant of Shoeless Joe up here. We could have had Eddie Goodell's. We could have had a lot of things to talk about tonight, Alex. You could have mixed in some more of your random knowledge, some more Michael Orr references, or what was the reference you had? You knew there's somebody that you talked about before the game that was in a movie or something?
Oh, Jeter Hines, our base running coordinator. He was the umpire during the rain scene in The Fan, and he talks about that all the time.
See?
He made me purchase it so that so he could get some royalties.
So you're the one that bought the DVD.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched it on my iPad the other day on a flight.
See, Alex, someone can finally match you in random movie baseball trivia knowledge.
Well, certainly in baseball knowledge, all the time that you soak up being around this game, I mean, that's your life every day of the year. Even in the off season, you're going on scouting trips and taking a look at players all over the world.
It is, and this phone that's sitting next to me, it's a lifesaver, and also sometimes you want to throw it in the garbage and get away for a little bit. But no, it's fun. The game. I've been fortunate enough to have it take me all over the world. I've been in Mexico, Venezuela, the Dominican Republic, Panama, Curacao, Aruba, all over the great country of the United States, Canada. It's been fun, and it's not, good thing about the way we do things and the organization run by JD is he allows us to enjoy ourselves as well and have a good time while we're working.
Great snare by Marte. Too late with the throw, though. Goodell running hard down the line. Marte ranging to his left on that sharp grounder. And an infield base hit, the first runner to reach against Valdespina.
And you'll never have to pay for an airline ticket probably either, so that's a good thing too.
Exactly. My Marriott points are through the roof. But it is fun. There's a lot of travel, and there's a lot of people in this game who travel a lot and are away from their families a lot. And there's sacrifices that go in, but like I said earlier about the players, when you take a step back and you realize what you're doing for a living, it's worth it.
That's the first man to reach since a walk to Robert Crowell back in the fifth, the first hit since Bousfield had that double off of Cordell's glove back in the third. Here's Dwanell Jones, who supplied all the offense tonight for San Antonio. 2 outs, a man on. And a big cut by Jones on a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. What did you call the team that Jones played on, the Tricky Squad?
It's a league down there. It's called the Tricky League. I'm not really sure how it got the name. Actually, when he was playing, I was the commissioner of it, so we had the best schedule in the entire league. But anyways, that team, lucky enough, we had Chris Correa, we had Jurickson Profar, Luis Sardinas, Luis Mendez was on that team. Dwarnell Jones played with us for the first month of the season. But it's more of a spring training type feel. You can roll innings after 15 pitches. You can do a lot of things like that to control and teach the game of baseball. Because down in the Dominican, a lot of times it's tryouts. This allows these guys to go out there and play a full 9 innings and work situations, work runners on second, those type of things.
And Run DMC provided the soundtrack, right?
Exactly.
Because it's tricky.
That year we were 22-5-2. It was a heck of a year. Mike Daly, who is now our farm director, he was the manager and I was the bench coach.
What a combination.
Oh, the best. It was the best.
Did you give him a hug after the game?
Yeah, we did the hug. We had a handshake. It was great.
I think Mike asked about an agent when he was with us 2 weeks ago, Alex. After the performance, he wanted an agent. He wanted a little something. If he had to come back on, he wanted a little something in return. The ego was out of control. He was walking through the press box the next day. It was tough to see.
3-2 here on Dwanell Jones. 2 outs, a man at second. Frisco leading 4-1. Valdespina trying to get out of the inning against Jones. Payoff pitch. Tapped foul up the third base line. This is one of those pressure points in the ball game where I'm sure you like to see a guy like Valdespina locked down here. You don't want to bring the tying run to the plate. It's a situation that you have to go through. You can't just talk about. You have to go through it and experience it when you're out there on the mound.
Absolutely. And we do those in the bullpen. You know, their bullpen sessions pre-game and right before they go to the mound, but nothing's like being out there.
He gets a ground ball right to the shortstop. Marte, plenty of time ahead of the runner this time. And our man is left at second base. It's stretch time at Dr. Pepper Ballpark. Riders ahead by 3. Well, we go to one of the other affiliates to the Rangers, and that's High Desert, where Chris Gurria, switch-hitting outfielder, plays. He started this year with Frisco, struggled, and he has gone down to High Desert and really picked up his game. He's a speed guy, and he's got a little bit of punch in that bat, Paul.
He does. And he's a speed guy, again, that has the ability to hit the ball at the ballpark, even though we don't want that to be his focus. He is a plus runner. He's a world-class speed guy. He actually ran the 400 back when Mike Daly saw him in 2009, at the same time he saw Dirks and Profar and Curacao, and it was like, this guy, he's literally floating on grass. Can he play baseball? And he's done a good job of it so far.
Zach Cohn leads off against Brian Rodriguez, the starter, and he gets a swinging strike. Gurria this year, it didn't seem like things were all right. I know he was going through some personal issues which probably affected his level of play on the field, but what have been the reports since he moved to High Desert and has really gotten off to a much better restart to his season?
They've been really good. I think he's come into his own, like you mentioned. He had some personal stuff go on, and when he was able to really step away from the game for a few weeks and come back, he was re-energized, refocused on the type of player he is. He's another one of those guys that has to figure out who he is, and he's starting to do that.
Beautiful breaking ball gets Cohn looking. The 9th strikeout for Brian Rodriguez, and he is starting to rack him up as he'll face Luis Marte with 1 out.
Is he the fastest guy in the organization?
He is. He is the fastest guy. He's got 25 stolen bases this year out of 28 attempts. He's a guy we'd like to see run more and be more aggressive. He's doing it on the bases, going first to third, going really home to third as many times as he can, but continue to push and learn how to get those jumps, get the reads off the pitcher is something he's going to have to develop, and hopefully it can be a weapon for him when that time comes and he's playing in Arlington.
Luis Marte is at the dish, and we teased him coming up in this inning, and Marte made a couple of good defensive plays today. And similar in the way of Gurria's speed and defense are going to be his real tickets to the big leagues.
Absolutely. He's one of our better defenders at shortstop, and he can run like you saw there, putting some pressure on the infield and causing him to bobble it and beat that play out. But he's had a very good year. He's been struggling of late, playing as much as he has in High Desert and here. But he's one of our slicker fielders out there at short. He's learned to slow the game down and trust his abilities at short and not try to make the great play or rush into the play. That internal clock, what we talk about, he's starting to develop that, and that's huge for any player, especially at shortstop.
Well, like you said, he's made defensive plays. He laid down the sacrifice there. Right there, he let his speed do his work for him there, too. So he's showing a lot tonight already.
Absolutely, and that goes a long way. Like we said, you got to find other ways when the bat's not going to help the club. And that speed, it's defense, it's getting the bunts down, sac flies, whatever the case may be.
1-0 to Wilder Rodriguez. Runner goes, throw down from Crowell. Marte is safe.
Couldn't have worked out any better.
Alex, see, that was a great segue. When he came up to bat, Alex was like, all right, let's hit on Marte right now, and let's just keep this going. That's why you've done this 1,030 times, Alex.
Something like that. Marte stealing his 7th bag in 10 tries here in the Texas League. You see that great jump. And, one note about Marte, you talk about slowing the game down with him, and I think we've seen that come across in his defense. He had a spate of errors in his first month in the Texas League, and very few of them here in the last month, playing the most challenging position you can have out there at shortstop, other than catcher maybe. And I think that something has certainly clicked with him, and he's not letting maybe bad offensive plate appearances seep into his defense.
I agree, and I think that's something you'll see every once in a while, especially a guy that's just coming up to a new level. Is he wants to show off, he wants to impress and show why he's on that team, why he's the shortstop, why he's hitting where he's hitting. And sometimes you just got to take a step back, take a deep breath, and get back to the player you are. Another thing, Casey Candell, our field coordinator, and also runs our infield department for the Rangers. He does a good job with these guys and slowing it down, doing different drills to think you have to do things fast, but when you take a step back and you do it slow, when you slow it down and take a step back, it's easier and it's quicker. Just like throwing. Sometimes you overthrow on the mound. When you overthrow, you actually throw slower. When you let it loose and free, it's very, very easy.
3-2 on Rodriguez. One out, man at second. RoughRiders looking to add some insurance against Brian Rodriguez. And the count stays at 3-2. Brian Rodriguez has already set a season high in strikeouts with 9. One more than his previous high. But because of that blast by Robinson, that's the difference right now. It reminds me of something that Greg Maddux had told some of the players when he's passed through. He said, one pitch isn't necessarily going to win you the game, but it can certainly lose you a game.
It's great to have guys like that, Greg Maddux, Pudge Rodriguez, Darren Oliver, these guys, the special assistants in our organization that really help out and provide that knowledge. And Greg, I remember one thing he talked about in the instructional league was his best changeup was in the same location of his last fastball. So it comes out looking like the fastball, but it's a change of speeds, and it's a very tough pitch to hit. So you don't have to have the greatest changeup in the world, but it's how you execute it. Same with fastball. You have a good mix, command it, you're going to be successful.
Payoff pitch. He walked him. Second walk of the night. And we'll see what Rodriguez has done tonight. He has been really getting the job done with his slider. You see 9 whiffs. Most of them have been swinging, and a lot of uncomfortable plate appearances because of that out pitch he's got.
He's 101 pitches too, so they're letting him go.
He threw 108 in his last start. That was a season high. But he threw 108 in 4 2/3 innings his last time. Here he is, a double play from getting through 7. Ryan Cordell, he is 1 of 3 tonight. As you mentioned earlier, he's got a 4-game hitting streak. Cordell really wanted to focus on finishing the season strong, and although the playoffs looking like a near impossibility for the RoughRiders, still a lot to play for. There's a ball poked out to deep right field. Goodell on the run. He's able to make the grab. He holds on. To third on the play goes Marte. Heck of a play by Goodell, who got all turned around out there in the corner. It advances the runner, and there are 2 downs for Brinson.
I don't know that his great uncle or whatever he was, Eddie Goodell, would have made that play, Alex.
You're saying Kyle's got a little bit more reach?
Yeah, a little more reach, probably a little quicker. Probably takes fewer strides to get to the ball too.
It's a great job by Marte, realizing that the right fielder was drifting off, and it was going to be a tough play to really even no play to get him at third, tagging up when he realized he was going to make the catch and get to third base. Now a wild pitch scores another run.
Brinson is 1 of 3 tonight. Scored on the Robinson blast back in the first inning, and he takes a strike at the belt. Getting back to what I was saying on that fly ball, this is still judgment time from the organization, looking at how you play in these ball games. And of course, from personal pride perspective, you want to meet certain benchmarks, whether you're sitting on 20 home runs, you want to get to a different number with the batting average, 240 to 250. These are still games that have some significance, even if postseason is not part of that.
Right, there's a lot to play for, and there's personal pride, there's team pride, there's where am I going to be next year? Can I leave 2015 on a high note? And also, we're still discussing the Arizona Fall League winter ball opportunities, and these games go a long way into deciding who plays in the Fall League, who has an opportunity to play in winter ball, and who gets invited to Instructional League, which starts here in 2 weeks.
1-2 here on Lewis Brinson. Over at third base, it's Marte. Rodriguez at first. And the 1-2 pitch, he struck him out. And Lewis didn't know that ball was not handled, so the throw gets him. And that completes the 7th inning. Brian Rodriguez gets his 10th strikeout of the night. But the Rough Riders are up by 3 as we have completed 7 here at Dr. Pepper Ballpark. First Choice Emergency Rooms want to give you a free Riders fan pack, including an awesome Scorched Red Riders t-shirt, a Raising Cane's 3-finger combo voucher, and a first aid kit, all for free. Just swing by a participating First Choice ER location and get your free Riders fan pack today while supplies last. Visit RidersBaseball.com for a list of participating First Choice Emergency Room locations. Start of the 7th inning, a new man on the mound. It's right-hander Adam Parks, who accomplished a rare and impressive feat, especially for a guy who was not a high draft pick. In his first full pro season, Parks made it up to Double-A, and he has pitched well. Adam, a right-hander out of Liberty University, is relieving Jose Valdespina, who went 2 scoreless. And Parks looks to continue what has been a very well-pitched ball game on the Riders side.
It has, and it started out with Jose Leclerc, who came in and was just pounding the zone. Jose Valdespina came in and did the exact same. Let's see if Adam can continue this.
And the first one gets away from Deglin. Ball 1 to Robert Crowell.
You talk about Parks. I mean, a 33rd round pick from last year. What are realistic expectations for y'all had for him coming into the season, and how much has he exceeded them?
I think he's done a tremendous job to get to where he is now, and as he gets a ground ball there to the first baseman. But he's starting to hickory, and he was going to be a key cog in that bullpen there, and he was for the first half. He had a lot of success. He is an older guy. We wanted to push him a little bit, see what he could do at a higher level. Went to the hitter-friendly California League and continued his success. The big thing for him is he's got 116 strikeouts on his career and only 24 walks, and that goes a long way with pounding the strike zone. One thing we've really been working on him is staying on top of the baseball, not getting on side of it, getting that fastball with good angle down. When he does that, he has success. And he's got a chance to be a bullpen guy. He throws strikes. He's got an average to above average slider, an average to above average fastball, and he's got a bulldog mentality of, here you go, boys, hit it.
1-1 here on Austin Bousfield, who's got a double and a fly out tonight. The organization is often credited with being an aggressive organization, and a lot of times that's attributed to younger guys, pushing them up a level. But in some cases, for a player who's drafted who maybe is a little bit older, he had some injury issues in college. In Parks' case, you want to see, okay, what can he do before the age gets to the point where he kind of expires as a prospect?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think it's something too where some of the younger guys, they're on more of pitch counts, pitch limits. Well, Adam pitched at Liberty. He has experience pitching innings, as in college. They do pitch a lot. They pitch Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they'll come back midweek, especially as a reliever. So we want to see what he can do, and we're willing to push him to get to where we think is the correct level for him to finish out his season. And right now it looks like Double-A. He's done a very good job since he's been here. Like I said, the 10 strikeouts, 4 walks, that goes a long way. And see what these guys can do and challenge them like he did there, fastball inside.
Comes back from 3-1 to get the swinging strikeout. 2 away to bring up the top of the order, and Benji Gonzalez. Parks played his college baseball, as you mentioned, at Liberty with Ryan Cordell. So I know that Adam said he was happy to come into an organization where he already had a good friend.
That's always a nice thing, especially in professional baseball, where there is a lot of change and there is a lot of players. We have over 210 in the minor league system. So it's nice to know somebody and have that familiar face every once in a while. This is the 3rd year in a row we've signed a Liberty kid. We signed Ryan Cordell in 2013, Adam Parks in 14, and this past year a converted guy, Ashton Parrott, who's pitching for the Spokane Indians currently.
Is that coincidence, or is it something with certain programs that they develop guys, or they have the types of players that appeal to what the organizational philosophies are?
I think it's a combo of both. I think, you develop relationships with college teams, high school teams, high school summer programs, and you get around those guys a little bit more than you may other programs. And we talk a lot about maturity, character, makeup, those things when it goes into amateur players, pro players, our own players, and evaluating the talent. And when you can get that information, you learn a lot about a guy, and you're willing to take a pick on him.
Yanked over to Robinson, a bobble. He recovers and gets the out. Gonzalez thrown out by Drew Robinson. And we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Frisco's up 4-1 at Dr. Pepper Ballpark. Well, we're going to flash back to a former Rough Rider, current member of the Hickory Crawdads, Michael DeLeon. He played one game for the Rough Riders last year as a 17-year-old shortstop. Flashy glove. He was signed a couple of years ago. Actually made his pro debut with the Riders last year. And again, as part of that infield depth that is so rich throughout this organization.
He is, and he may have some of the best hands in minor league baseball as you kind of look at it. You know, we've highlighted Luis Marte today. De Leon has just as good, if not better, hands than Marte does. He gets great jumps off the bat. That's one of his strong points is, you know, he can position and he's reading the swing. And that's very hard to do, especially as an 18-year-old like himself. But his main focus as we push forward here in the last 10 days of the season and through his playoffs and through this offseason is, can we get him stronger? You know, he's got the ability defensively, but the bat's a little light. So for him to be that everyday shortstop that we'd like to see here in a few years, that bat's going to have to come around in his strength, but he's got some special ability at shortstop. And the Rough Rider fans, and even in spring training, the Ranger fans.
I remember seeing him.
They got to see it.
I was like, holy smokes, he's not a big kid at all. But the one thing I noticed when you look at his stats is he doesn't strike out a lot. So, I mean, at least he's not hitting for high average, but I think he has 40-something strikeouts, nearly 300 at bat. So at least he has a good idea of what the strike zone is, even at 18 years old.
Yeah, he can put the barrel on the ball. It's just a matter of getting that strength and getting the ball to the gaps, maybe rather than, you know, having it, you know, die, or a ground ball, a hard ground ball through the hole, rather than a play that the shortstop can make. It's those small things. You know, he's a switch hitter. He's still extremely young for his level. He may be the youngest player, I'm not sure, in the Sally League. But one thing that the team calls him, and I like to call him as well, is Sonrisa. He always has a smile. Sonrisa is Spanish for smile. He's always smiling. He loves to play the game. He'll play the game here in the Dominican, in a parking lot. If there's a game, he just loves the game of baseball, and that goes a long way.
And we're talking about somebody very young as Robinson pulls that one over to Jones. He'll tag the pillow, and Robinson is out. We're talking about a guy who was born in 1997, if that doesn't make you feel old.
The year I got married. So, yeah, it makes me feel really old.
This is Adam Simber, who, well, spindly would be a good way to describe him. Throws from a sidearm. He's rail thin. He replaces Rodriguez. Interesting guy, interesting mannerisms.
It's one of those things, too. As a reliever, sometimes you're trying to be deceptive. And can I hide the baseball for as long as I can? You don't want that pitcher to pick up the ball early. And you'll see some different forms. And at times we will work on dropping guys down. Maybe their fastball isn't what we would like it to be. And you try him sidearm, 3/4. You know, you had Ben Rowan 2-3 years ago here at the Rough Riders. His hands scrape the dirt. So things like that you may try with guys and see if it sticks. Darren O'Day with the Rangers in 2010. Those kind of guys, they can be valuable if it works.
The way he starts that delivery, just the way he starts it, it looks like he's bowing down or something like that. It is different.
The good thing is that he owns it.
Yeah,
he's got the high pants, the stirrups. He wears number 1 for a pitcher, which is a little odd.
Well, it's like he's praying to the rubber.
1-2 here on Deglin. And that ball lined foul. Getting back to De Leon, one thing that I noticed about him in that one game that he played is the smoothness and the swagger, not in a way that it's boastful, but he looks like he belongs out there and like he's a shortstop. And he's gonna get whatever he can. He's gonna do it with a smooth action. And that's pretty rare, especially such a challenging position.
Challenging position, especially in that challenging environment. You're thrown in a double-A game. You've never even played a game outside of Arizona extended spring training, which is a controlled game, controlled environment that, you know, the clubs put on. And then the greatest thing for me was he goes into a game in Major League spring training, and I think it was a big double play. And I remember the big league coaches like, who is this kid? He's 17 years old. He's acting like he belongs. And that goes a long way. Like you said, he believes he can play the position. Everybody around him believes that he can play the position and gives everybody confidence. Gives pitchers confidence to fill it up and get ground balls, 6-3 putouts.
And he did the same thing even in spring training when you have the major leaguers are throwing live BP and kids like this step in and there's not any fear in him. Now the bat hasn't developed yet, but still he shows that he is confident enough to where he's not going to be intimidated by anything.
Fastball gets Kellen Deglin after a 7-pitch at bat. So Simber's gotten the first 2, and now he'll go to work against Preston Beck. Looking ahead to the 9th inning, the 2, 3, 4 batters for San Antonio will be up. Lindsey, Goris, and Asensio, likely against Frisco's closer, David Martinez. Preston takes ball 1. Well, Paul, we'll leave you here after this inning, but it's certainly an interesting take that you have that you see these guys so young. It must be gratifying to see those guys as they move up throughout the system, and you're not there at the point where you've got a lot of guys that you personally had a hand in bringing into the organization, make it up to the big leagues, but following them along, you must really tie yourself into them and get emotional with their successes and their failures.
No doubt. I think that's what's one of the fun parts about working in player development is you see these guys when you first sign them, and you have the chance to work with them and hopefully see them on a big league mound or big league field.
Paul, great to have you with us here tonight. Thanks so much for all your insight.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Paul Kruger here, and the RoughRiders trying to finish off the missions right after this. Hey parents, Deuce wants to celebrate your child's birthday with them. And he has a couple of special presents waiting just for them when you join Deuce's Birthday Club, presented by In Touch Credit Union. Enjoy a free ticket to a RoughRiders game and other great prizes, all courtesy of In Touch Credit Union. Sign up today at RidersBaseball.com. Joe Mikulik goes to his closer in a save opportunity. It's 4-1 Frisco. And the RoughRiders bring in Texas League postseason All-Star David Martinez. Right-hander has 21 saves in 25 chances, including a save in last night's game. He's got a 3-run cushion, and he'll work to Taylor Lindsay to start things off. A bunt. Third baseman Cordell charging the bare hand. He has no throw. A bunt single for Taylor Lindsay, just the 4th hit of the day, and 2 of the hits have been on the infield.
Well, I guess trying to win a game, you got to get base runners on when you're down by 3, so it's a smart play by him with the third baseman playing back.
Here you see the numbers on Martinez. Today it was announced that he was a postseason Texas League All-Star. The RoughRiders had one other player on that team. He's no longer with the RoughRiders or in the organization. That's Nick Williams. He was, of course, included in the Cole Hamels deal. And despite missing the last month because of that trade, he was still honored by the folks who voted on that award.
So the Iron Pigs pick up the Texas League honor, and that where he is now or something
the
like
Reading Fighting
Reading.
Phils.
Oh, Reading. Oh, wow. When he's on, now he's hurt too. It needed a concussion or a concussion DL or something.
When he was informed of the news by his now former manager, he said that he was going to miss the next 7 games because of a concussion. Diego Goris swings through the 1-0. Again, our thanks to Paul Kruger, the Rangers minor league operations manager, for joining us on the broadcast and sharing so many interesting insights on these guys. And it's always fun listening to him and Mike, as they know so much about these players' backgrounds. Goris hitting the 1-1 foul. David Martinez has big league time. The Astros the last couple of years. 2 years ago in this league, he was the pitcher of the year when he was pitching for the Corpus Christi Hooks, and back then he was a starting pitcher.
Yeah, I remember seeing him against the Rangers a couple of years ago.
Last year he pitched in 3 games, allowed 4 runs in 7 innings. The year before he allowed 9 earned runs in 11 1/3 innings for the Astros as a September call-up. The 1-2 got him swinging. Goes to the elevated slider, and Goris is down on strikes. Frisco has pitched really well, but Anthony, they haven't gotten it done with the K. That's only their 5th strikeout.
Yeah, but you know what? There's nothing wrong with pitching to contact if you trust your stuff. And they've got a lot of ground balls tonight. They've been, like Paul was talking about, been on top of things with their pitches, and it's made things easier for their infield.
Jason Asensio, their best hitter and most aggressive hitter, goes after that first pitch. He is 0 for 3 tonight. Entered the night with a .305 batting average.
And also, it's been easier because the command has been really good by the Frisco pitchers tonight.
Here's a ground ball slapped to the shortstop. Marte to Robinson. On to first. A game-ending double play. 6-4-3. And the RoughRiders win it 4-1 tonight against San Antonio.
And I think that may be the shortest game of the year, right? I mean, it's going to be close. We're going to need official notification, but that may be it.
It takes just a little more than 2 hours for the RoughRiders to put away San Antonio tonight. And the RoughRiders get to 500 in the second half of the year with this victory, as Frisco is 29-29 here in the second half. Martinez gets the save, and Frisco can go for the series win tomorrow night. RoughRiders baseball on Fox Sports Southwest has been brought to you by In Touch Credit Union, working for you and your financial well-being. By Park Place Lexus, experts in excellence. And by Baylor Medical Center at Frisco. RoughRiders win tonight's game over San Antonio 4-1. That 3-run margin provided back in the first inning by Drew Robinson, who hit an inside-the-park home run last night for number 20. And Drew, you join us down on the field. You went the more conventional route for your home run in the first inning tonight. What'd you think on that pitch?
I was just not trying to do too much. Got a fastball down the middle. I was able to square it up and get it out of the park.
Well, we're having some audio issues. Drew, can you hear us down there?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
All righty. What were you thinking on that pitch as you hit the home run back there in the first inning? And this has been a kind of a big season for you power-wise. Career high of 13 a couple of years ago. What do you think has led to this power surge here this season?
Just squaring pitches up more often. Just sticking with my approach and just putting balls in play more often. Known as a guy that's kind of passive, fouling pitches off, so I think I've been a little bit better this year, squaring the ball up. I'm not anywhere where I want to be, but things have gone well for me so far, and hopefully I keep it going.
You hit the inside the park home run last night for number 20, and I know that was a goal of yours to get to 20 on the season. So now that you've got 21, what are you shooting for here over the last 11 games or so this year?
Nothing right now. I'm just trying to stick with this approach I got going the last week or so. Feeling good at the plate, so hopefully I can just finish the season strong and on a good note.
Drew, congratulations on the ball game tonight, and go enjoy it with your teammates.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Drew Robinson joining us down in the field as the RoughRiders beat the San Antonio Missions 4-1. Anthony, I'll be back right after this here on Fox Sports Southwest. The RoughRiders 4 runs tonight on 6 base hits, no errors. They played a clean game defensively. The Missions 1 run on 4 hits with 1 error. The winning pitcher was the starter, Jose Leclerc. He improves to 6-6 on the season, lowers his ERA just below 5. The losing pitcher was the starter, Brian Rodriguez, who pitched better than the loss that he ended up getting tagged with. He falls to 6-13. And David Martinez, his league-leading 22nd save of the season. And Anthony, the tone was set, of course, by that bottom of the first inning, leading by 3. But the reason it mattered is because of how well Jose Leclerc pitched with that lead.
Right, a guy who hadn't won a game since July 21st. He came out and was really aggressive. He was quick with his pace. He had to command all 3 of his pitches that he was throwing tonight. And he walked, I think, 1 guy. He never fell behind the hitters. He was in charge of the game from the get-go, and it was really impressive to see.
You know, it was a little bit like we were talking with Paul earlier in the broadcast. It's performances like these that, you know, make you think, boy, the Rangers really have something here. And who knows, it may be as a starter, it might be as a reliever, but you like the tools that he showed tonight.
Right, and like Paul said, it was command. The command issues has held him back, but we didn't see really any signs of that tonight. They were talking about the, you know, getting ahead, getting 0-1, 1-2, and putting away hitters, and he was able to do that.
Well, Anthony, it was a lot of fun here working on these 2 Fox Sports telecasts and others throughout the season with you. Thanks so much for your time and your insight. And, hey, we'll do it again next year.
All right, Alex, thanks.
RoughRiders win tonight 4-1 over the San Antonio Missions. I want to thank Anthony Andro and Paul Kruger for joining us in the broadcast, and everybody here at Dr. Pepper Ballpark and Fox Sports Southwest for making these broadcasts happen and bringing AA baseball to you here on Fox Sports Southwest. For our outstanding crew, I'm Alex Vespoli, reminding you this telecast is copyright 2015 Frisco RoughRiders Baseball. So long, everybody.